Yeah, Kath and Baptiste are still up, so Dynasty needs to probably ban Baptiste or Kath here. If they don't, and they don't take one of those, they're going to give over Baptiste, Kath to Fnatic. So that's something that they need to definitely ban. Has to be Kath or Baptiste here if they do not plan on taking Kath or Baptiste in their pick on the B side here. Yep, they're going to take that Kath. Now Fnatic will probably ban Baron or Vox, depending on what PT Lamb plays. So now PT Lamb will pick up the Vox because Baron is banned and Vox is pretty good into Blackfeather along with Arden. It's pretty good combo. They can last pick the counter jungle pick here. And then now Fnatic leaves open Lance along with Cruel. They played that before. That looks pretty good for Fnatic.
There is a possibility here that Dynasty once again lets the Baron go through. They're going to take the Idris. This is definitely a bit of a surprise because, I mean, obviously, again, PT Lamb plays a lot of Idris. That's not the surprising part. It's just that the fact that they're leaving the Baron open, they're picking the Idris without there being something that he hard counters on the other side.
Yeah.
Blackfeather, can very easily just not really. It's not so much a hard counter either way.
They're pretty
with the
even.
Blackfeather, they're fairly even. Blackfeather could even go the CP route and just try and poke and harass against the Idris, which is really effective too. So Fnatic will have a lot of options. They're going to grab a Baptiste here.
Captain, I believe. Baptiste Captain and then Scarf. And now here, I think Dynasty should go Grumpjaw and do CP Idris if they do play that. That would be a lot of damage, especially with CP Idris scaling to the mid to late game. Do they play CP Idris though? If they do, that would be an amazing draft coming out from Dynasty if they pick up this Grumpjaw, because that would be a huge burst of damage. But instead they're going with the Sky.
Alright.
Which is interesting into Baptiste, because Baptiste can limit her movement.
Rikumez are basically saying to Palmatoro, you think that's how you play Sky? Let me show you a thing or two coming on into this game. This is going to be interesting with the Sky and Scarf swapping hands this time around. Definitely going to be a different game to what we saw in that first one. Potentially a quicker game. We'll have to see. What is going to be the playstyle for these two teams then? How do they have to make the win happen?
It's going to be almost very similar to the previous game where it's all about just the range and the junglers. If they can match up against each other, who can get the initial damage first and who can make that damage stick. The Sky, I think, is going to be incredibly important to watch. And where is the build path going to go, and where's even the abilities going to go? We saw it was Palmatoro went for the Surrey Strike Max, which I'm personally a huge fan of the Surrey Strike Max on a CP Sky, but a lot of players will still go for the Forward Barrage Max instead, just to have that 1 second lower cooldown on the barrage and a little bit of extra damage on it, because that is her primary tool for damage dealing.
All right, Sweeja, just quickly, your thoughts on this game?
I think I like Dynasty's draft, but Fnatic, if they land a good Scarf ultimate, they can win the game.
Okay, so all revolving around the Scarf. We'll see if that's going to be the case as we head on into the second game of this final. Hashtag Vainglory8 on Twitter to let us know who you're going to be supporting. Is it Fnatic going for a 2-0, or is it Dynasty coming for the 3-game series? Let's find out as we pass it once again to our wonderful casters.
Yeah, I'm not even going to lie, guys. When Munchbull said it, we're going to game 2, I was like, wait a second. This is not game 3? This is this is truly game 2 here. And Fnatic, I guess they have a chance to close out the series. But this game, it's going to be a little bit different, a little bit different flavor here. We got the Baptiste in here. Net Toilette can be playing this pick. Runs right into the 3 of Dynasty off the bat. And, hey, you're no grace. Net Toilette will be able to use his boots to get himself out of here, a potion as well. This will give the mid, unless he steals that. I'd be done. I wouldn't be surprised if Net stole it. But Dynasty, they get the mid, they'll get the Elder Treant, and this is what they've been doing all weekend.
I really like doing it against this comp too. I feel like Baptiste Scarf doesn't fight very well into the 3 that you've got on Dynasty. And on top of that, punishing Scarf for not having the best fight at level 1 means that you also deal with his strength, which is, quickly farming up early. So I think that's pretty smart. They're not going to be able to successfully stop that back, though. I think they should just take the front camp. Go for the backs here is very greedy.
Yeah, Net and Palma moving as to. We'll see what they go for first. They're going to start on the backs here. Palmatoro still level 1. He wants to get that goop. Rikameza will be able to get his tree out there. It's really nice for him. And he just keeps the target lock on. He'll eat a bad mojo and just kind of chase Fnatic out of his jungle, I think.
This could be a bit dicey. Rikameza is going to have another ability to go in again sometime soon.
You got the target lock, the forward barrage, the Surrey Strike over the top. Palmatoro, hey, this is how you play Sky, bruh. That's the first blood, but they traded right back as Net Toilette's able to pick up a kill. It's kind of cheeky, but it's pretty easy once you're getting powered up. Throw a bad mojo early on there. until these guys start to pick up some levels and some defense, it still has a little bit of an impact here.
Mowgli does need to be careful though. If he sticks around too long, like he's basically just playing around cooldowns to threaten Net, but honestly Net can probably survive if Mowgli commits. And he's very close to Tet and Palma. Alright, so we've had a few interesting things happen. Oh, Palma, he's gotta be careful.
Mowgli steals it. Mowgli pulling a little Net to let Net. Oh no, Net, one more basic. He's going to go down. He overstepped. He's going to pay for that with his life. Mowgli is going to find that Palmatoro was teleporting out right there in that brush. Mowgli will take this opportunity to do the same himself.
We're seeing some weird stuff happen in the early games of many of our matches today, Humanist. Net sticking around the way that he stuck around is the questionable thing. Had he, maybe placed himself behind Palma by the Treant on the backside of the jungle, could have been a little bit better. But as it stands, with 2 kills to 1. Still pretty even in terms of gold. Obviously getting both the back camps earlier was really nice for Fnatic.
Well, Net throws that Ordained onto PT Lamb. PT Lamb just stands his ground. He's not going to be stunned up, but makes it for an easy Spitfire target out of Palmatoro at this point. Fnatic has 3. They drop down. It looks like they were going to try to clear out Elder Treant or something like that. It's not there. Tetno was just going to take this opportunity to teleport home.
Alright, so let's start talking about when we might see more action. Obviously, maybe right now with Dynasty moving into the jungle, but I think they probably won't commit to too much. They just wanted to see if they could steal something away. They should be able to get another Elder Treant if it spawns in time. Yep, they're going to be able to get that. Nicely timed by Dynasty. It's always good to make that slightly, not overcommitting, but to make the aggressive play right before you know a train is going to spawn does mean you have position on the map and you're forcing your opponents to walk into a dangerous area that they don't have control over if they want to interrupt that. Both teams have all 3 members up the lane here, though.
Yeah, Rikamez has made his way up. Interesting forward barrage that he throws out there. Takes a whole bunch of damage. The on point, the Fan of Heart, he jumps in. Riku Meza getting burned down. The forward barrage that I was saying was interesting. It's like he was trying to clear out the lane wave, not really even trying to put any poke damage out onto Fnatic. Fnatic connecting with Spitfire, a Gooba, and an on point. PT Lamb even feeling the threat here. He should hang around with Mowgli's Vanguard, having the Book of Eulogies. He should be able to hang out and sustain himself.
Yeah, even though Scarf and Blackfeather do a lot of work in the late game, I actually think that you do need to be very afraid of this particular comp in the mid game too. The stun out of Batiste makes it very easy for Tetno and Palma to stick onto people or land their skill shots, and as a result, they do a lot of damage. One of the weaknesses of someone like Scarf and Blackfeather is that they're often unable to leverage their abilities properly in the mid game because it's too risky to be in the right position to use them, or people are a little bit too mobile when your captain doesn't have access to their big team fight ultimate. But actually, Batiste does a great job of setting up these plays early. Also, nice interrupt on PT Lamb's back there. He's stuck on 1,500 gold right now. If they fight, Fnatic has an item lead.
That's the Shocker mount. Ordained is down. Just a nice Shroud Step there. PT Lamb dodging out some damage. Kind of dancing around in that fight. That got very dangerous very quickly. Mowgli holding Fountain, Net Toilet as well. Both captains doing a very good job. Rikameza kind of doing the forward barrage poke into that brush. Every Sky player knows. You may not have a flare, but I'll just throw a forward barrage and dip down there.
Yeah, it's pretty worth it. I mean, the cooldown isn't exactly that long. It's not exactly much energy. And actually, Rikameza is going for the Surrey Strike Max, so can get that cooldown back in a moment's notice if he wants to. Fnatic, I like that they're applying pressure. I think they should continue to do so, as I mentioned before. Let's see what items they go for first here, though. Tetno has a Poison Shiv, and it looks like he's working towards a Serpent's Mask. Again, this is an interesting build. I'm not sure if I like it quite as much as going for like a Tension Bow or Sorrow Blade second, but it can be fine. It does give you a lot of sustain. Obviously, Serpent's Mask is a good item on Blackfeather.
I do like that both teams are going for a little bit different builds there. Hold that. Death from Boev cuts Net Toilet off from his team. The forward barrage not quite connecting Net around the bottom side of that. Throws the Ordained down onto P. Lamb. He's going to try to get back up into the lane. Net, can he get himself out of there? Mowgli is just going to go ahead and punch him down there. Give him a little bit of that Flash X. Goodness. Oh my gosh, Flash. What a legend, honestly. We got to bring him up. Even casting her up. Dynasty.
I was honestly expecting a turnaround fight there from Fnatic after Net Toilet dodged most of Rikameza's forward barrage. I feel like they probably could have, especially with the positioning in the choke, setting up really nicely for a Dragon's Breath or, perhaps just a goop. They didn't go for it. Fnatic playing cautiously like last game. It panned out last game.
I wonder if they thought maybe Net was just caught dead to rights in the beginning, because that's what it looked like.
It did look like it, but Batiste is not that bad at getting out of sticky situations. You have a lot of sustain, and also he had boots up, so he was able to maneuver quite effectively.
I'm really looking forward to when we get the ultimate on of this Batiste. It's going to be a great disruptive tool, a disengaged tool, a tool just to split, just to split Dynasty apart. And they don't really have a whole bunch of that on their team. They have high damage output. Mowgli, the three-man gauntlet, Rose offensive out of that one, but Palmatoro left for dead. Net let nowhere to go, and Dynasty just pull the trigger, find 2 kills, and this is going to be Techno against 3 here.
That gauntlet was just so dirty. Mowgli single-handedly won that fight for Dynasty. They're going to get turret off the back. Techno might die, too.
Techno, don't die. Don't do that. You don't want to die and lose your turret. We know that that's not the play. PT Lamb throwing out the chakram there and making the plays happen. He's unlocked his divergent paths a little while ago, actually. So he does have the instantaneous kind of blink now, which is really good for him.
All right, so with the last couple of plays that we saw, Dynasty has set themselves up to a decent lead here. PT Lamb now has 2 tier 3 items. He's definitely becoming a little bit scary. Interestingly, went for the Piercing Spear, and then back on the Shiv instead of finishing Tension Bow. It's quite curious. But ultimately, I think Fnatic are not in a devastatingly bad position. They just need to get Reflex Block / Crucible. Otherwise, Mowgli will be able to make that play again.
Yeah, I guess he should be able to. At the same time, though, it feels like I guess because Palmatoro got caught. Palma with the reflex, though, I feel like he's like the only one that needs to back out. If you engage, I would say just sick Techno right onto Riki Meza or PT Lamb. Let Palmatoro just throw Spitfire scoops from behind the backside of that gauntlet, and Net Toilette should be able to handle himself up on the front line.
Depends on if Techno can actually find a good target to stick onto, because if Riki Meza plays on the other side of the gauntlet wall, then Techno needs to do something about that. And without a reflex block, you're burning one of your key abilities to actually make that happen, which isn't always something you want to do.
PT Lamb in that goop, he just boom Shroud steps right out. That's really a great way for him to reposition, to maneuver through these fights. Maybe you get hit with an on point, you're a little slow, you're in that goop, whatever, boom, just Shroud step into a better position. Good job. Gauntlets down from Mowgli.
Okay.
I could say he's had better gauntlets in the past. It'll cancel off the gold miner attempt, but it didn't feel like that was like a full commit onto the gold miner anyway. Dynasty have chosen to stick around, try that. This is going to be sloppy. I can tell. I'm tier 7 in Europe, and I know that this is going to be a sloppy little fight here. Death from Above going to come down. That's your Fearsome Shade. Pushing back Riki Meza. Dragon's Breath cancels off as well. Wait, what? Seriously, he had a double Fearsome Shade? He had the Echo already? I didn't see that. I was like, wait a second. I thought I already said Fearsome Shade.
That feel when you Fearsome Shade twice in a fight and still don't accomplish anything. That's
but it
brutal,
felt good.
Actually. It felt good. It was like release, but it's not going to be enough unless your team's backing you up.
Cool story, Bob. Well, Jackson, this is kind of right back where we started.
But not quite. It's not quite back where we started. Dynasty did get a gold mine. And they burned an Echo cooldown, which is not insignificant. It's like 80 seconds. So, they have a window of opportunity here where they're actually going to get the gauntlet up and Echo won't be available. And because of the fact that he went Echo, there's no Crucible on that toilet. So actually, I would say that as soon as Gauntlet's off cooldown, Dynasty should go for it.
I think it's really kind of interesting that both teams just pinged out all of their big cooldowns. You could tell both teams at a point where they're very clearly just letting all their allies know, hey, like, you may be ready to fight, I'm not. Wait for the cooldowns. Let's take a good fight. We really can't afford to be taking a bad fight at this point.
I know some people don't like seeing the pop-ups for the communication in game. I like it. I like to get that window into the minds of our players.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it's always entertaining to see that. Oh, here we go.
There's
It's
your
off cooldown.
gauntlet. Net Toulette's going to be stunned up. He's the only person inside of that one. And, well, he throws out the Fearsome Shade at the end of it, but goes down, and that's pretty hard to watch. That was just an absolute smashing fight for Dynasty, and now they can do whatever they want. You don't have your captain for Fnatic. They don't have their fountain. It's 5 more seconds before he's going to respawn. It looks like Dynasty probably take this opportunity to just take out the Crystal Sentry.
Net Toilette needs to think about what
Crystal
purpose some of his
Sentry
movements are
defeated.
serving. Because where he wasn't really accomplishing much. He wasn't able to get any vision down. He died and had most of it still in inventory. Fnatic in general need to be playing in the back of their jungle. Focus on taking your back camps, maybe your front treant, but always go through by your sentry together. And focus on getting farm. If you flare out the Tribush and you see no one's there, you can peek up, check gold mine, lay down a scout trap, back away. But being in that area between Mustache Bush and Tribush, there's nothing there. There's no reason to be there for Fnatic right now. They're too far behind to justify that kind of positioning.
I mean, okay, a lot of times in the past, I've joked about, be like, all right, it's just little mind games. Net Toilette just setting up the next big play. He's maybe one of the players that can kind of play a little bit sloppy just because that's his playstyle, and then completely turn it up and catch you by surprise the next way.
It's increasing the amount of, surprising success he needs to have later, though, right? Like,
It's true. But they'll be so surprised.
I mean, okay, let's be real, though. It's kind of like when you have a fourth guy on the enemy team. An echoed Fearsome Shade is one of those things that can just break a game. But I think he needs for his team to be in a good enough position to capitalize on it. Palma's pretty far off right now. 600 in the bank, 2 tier 3 items. Pretty far behind compared to Rickameza, who's, over halfway to the next one.
I'd really like to see, honestly, if Fnatic catch vision of all of Dynasty, middle area of the map, they're not right next to the turret, not right next to the Crystal Sentry, to just boot right at them, just lock someone down, double Fearsome Shade, let the Black Feather just lock onto a target. I mean, at this point, it feels like they can control one of these fights.
Maybe.
Set the pace.
Yeah, potentially. I think that Dynasty needs to be aggressive, though. They can easily find kills. This is very far up to.
They can, definitely, but Fnatic just can't let themselves get engaged on. Mowgli, the gauntlet over the wall, that was cute,
Ooh.
but yeah, it's not going to result in anything. Rickamez is going to get a nice little Surrey strike to get himself out of harm's way. Vanguard from his buddy, and kind of a reset there for Dynasty.
Deja vu on the no tier 1 shield for the Sky. Palma doing ridiculous damage already for no real reason. We'll see, though. Fnatic, maybe they can, off the back of Rickamez being forced back, get some purchase in the lane at least. Find some vision. Kraken's on the map. Any play that goes wrong goes very wrong now. Mowgli does not have Gauntlet. If they speed in, it could be bad. Oh,
I said it. And normally I say something, I'm like, yeah, that's stupid, and then I tell myself, okay, quit thinking that. But it just still feels like it. Just get onto a target. Just go. If the Batiste just runs in with, Ordained, you have 2 Fearsome Shades, and Techno JJ just gets onto a target, there's, nothing that Rickameza or PT Lamb can do except for try to be elusive.
But they're very good at that, right? If they do it during the Gauntlet cooldown, maybe that's a window. But, oh, here we go.
So just to let yourself be engaged. Okay, now you're down sitting on both 2/3 health. Death from Above's going to zone out here. Palma, a little bit of Spitfire action coming out. Going to connect onto PT Lamb. Second Spitfire will miss Fnatic. Moving forward, there's your Ordained. All right, now's your chance. Fearsome Shade is going to be blocked off. Where's the second one? Net Toilette. He needs to get some healing. Needs to get the second Fearsome Shade onto Mowgli. They're chasing back. This is Techno dropping low. This is Palma Toro. He can't find the damage. This is not what you were looking for, team.
Or
With the
can
Crystal
he?
Sentry, it's good work. The Crystal Sentry is very good work. Techno will jump forward. What looked like a one fight for Dynasty completely flipped on its head there. On point will miss. Mowgli
Ace.
running around in circles there. What? Jackson, tell me what should happen.
Firstly, fighting on the Sentry is just a bad idea. You are not so far ahead as Dynasty that you can afford to do that. That was very throwy. Secondly, Palma has a lot of damage from his perk, and in that fight, he landed 1 Spitfire midway through the fight, missed like 2 in a row, but kept the fires burning from the basic attacks, and just did most of Rikumeza's health, plus a sentry swap target halfway through, because PT Lamb died, so it had a new focus, and I don't think Rikumeza was expecting that damage. Oh man, Dynasty. That's not where you want to fight. That's just not where you want to fight. Just fight under the turret. You're so elusive. Like, if you have Idris tank turret, and you go in, and Sky follows, and there's a gauntlet, Idris just resets turret aggro by using ult. You know, it basically is like playing with a Grace, right? Like, you just get to reset it. Fighting on Sentry is never going to be a good plan.
All right, well, Fnatic, they wanna get the 2-0 in this series. Claim the finals. Week 1 of Split 2. I think maybe there's an opportunity for them to do so. Spitfire connects, On Point connects, Rikumeza burning down, feeling the burn from this damage coming through. You know, Jackson said, man, he's got no shield, and I don't know if that's going to be his downfall here. Kraken slapping away on this choke point turret. It will go down. With that, Fnatic should probably back out of here. It looks like they'll go for Crystal Sentry, and I don't know. Palmator probably goes to heal back at this point. He's pretty low.
Yeah, I think Palma can safely go back and heal up, no question about it. He's got 1,000 gold in the bank. Probably might be worth just keeping an infusion in your inventory. I think it's pretty likely you're going to have to fight on that line. But honestly, with breaking the base in that way, Dynasty kind of is on a clock here. We've talked about it a number of times. We've seen this comp a lot. You know, the whole Black Feather Scarf thing. Seems like late game comps are doing some serious work this week. And they absolutely are in great position off the back of that, even though they're 3,000 gold behind. Doesn't really, I think, matter that much for Fnatic, just because they're scaling so much better. PT Lamb, maybe if he finds one more... Wow, he's full build, basically. Bonesaw 2. What's with the Bonesaws, Humanist? I got nothing.
Bonesaw's pretty good.
I don't think it's
okay, so he's gonna get a little attack speed out of it. He's getting some pierce. He's gonna burn through armor. It allows him, like, if he's actually staying on a target through these fights, to get through not only the little bit of armor they built, but also the natural armor that they have.
I'm not certain that Breaking Point is worse. But
okay, replace it with one item. Which one's better?
Breaking Point.
Breaking Point. Is he getting enough sustained damage to, like, ramp up his breaking point?
Absolutely. He lasted a really long time.
War Treads! Jackson, hold that thought! Oh, the gauntlet can't hold up the gauntlet! It's the gauntlet! Will let the fearsome shade. He's got 1, he's got 2. He plays like he's Starboy, but we know it's Europe. That's not Starboy, it's just your net. Look at this. The burning, the Palmatoro dropping the Spitfire, the Goobs. Mowgli, nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. Rikumeza, you have to play it like a god, the legend. Your team needs you, and he'll be chopped down. Tetno, hey, coming through with the ace DN. 20 minutes? Are Fnatic gonna close this out in sub 21 minutes? What could we have here? A 2-0? Unbelievable. I do not believe my eyes.
Man, Gauntlet getting interrupted was brutal there. Mowgli got really screwed by that. On top, Idris, PT Lamb made some really weird plays in the middle of the fight. But overall, I mean, it was great play by Fnatic. They did everything right in that engagement. They split correctly at the right times. They target focused well. They're just going to steal this game away after a very tough mid and early game.
Well, that's I don't have much to say about that one. Like, Dynasty had control of that game for the majority of that game. And suddenly they just take a couple bad fights back to back and gets completely reversed on them. Any final thoughts there, Jackson?
You know, I just feel like you got to be careful about where you're in fights and what your comp can do. Fighting over the Sentry is so much dicier than just pushing the lane, I think. And that was where things started to go wrong, I would say, for Dynasty. I'd like to see them make sure that they're playing their win conditions.
Oh man, I'd love to see a 30-minute game, but 20 minutes is also pretty nice. But congratulations, Fnatic. It's very